Hi there, smart driver. Night driving, as one smart driver said some years ago, it's like driving on a different planet. And the reason for that is because you lose half your ability to see at night. Today we're going to give you tips, strategies, and skills to keep yourself safe driving at night. So driving at night, and one of the most challenging nighttime driving situations is driving at night in the city in the heavy rain, because you get the reflection of the light off the water from all of the street lights, all of the traffic lights, all of the buildings, all of that ambient light reflecting off the rain and coming back through your windshields. So that can make it very challenging to drive at night. First tip for driving at night and keeping yourself safe is keep the glass on your vehicle clean, because the light, ambient light from buildings, traffic lights, street lights and whatnot, all reflects off the dirt on the glass. So first thing to do to keep yourself safe at night, clean the glass on your vehicle. Have windshield washer fluid in your vehicle and topped up, good windshield wipers. All of this is going to help you to drive at night and to have clear vision as well. Know how to turn on the high beams, low beams. For those of you who are going for a driver's test, at minimum, know these three secondary controls. Know how to turn on the headlights, high, low beams, turn them from auto to on, especially if you're driving in the rain or low light conditions and you need to turn your headlights on, turn them to the on position, because if they're on the auto position, they will not activate your taillights. So you need to activate your taillights. Driving is a social activity. See and be seen when you're driving to keep yourself safe, because if you make a mistake, potentially somebody else will help you out and compensate for that error. A couple of good videos to have a look at. Have a look at the night driving video and 5 tips for driving in heavy city traffic. Have a look at those videos and I'll put those down in the description for those of you watching now on the live stream. Corey will put them up in the description or in the comments there, and for those of you watching on the live stream, they will be down in the description. Have a look at those videos. Intimidating. It is intimidating driving at night because you cannot see, and the farther that you get away from cities, the more you have to rely on your headlights. And yes, newer vehicles have these supernova burn the retinas out of your eyeballs lights on them, and they're terrific for people who are driving the vehicle and sitting behind it, but for the people in oncoming traffic that get their eyeballs sizzled out of their head by these new LED super luminous, bright as the sun lights, not so much. But for other people who drive older vehicles such as myself, the old buggy, the 1998 Honda CR-V, which wasn't too happy about because I got the bill the other day for replacing the clutch and the main seal in it. Oh, that hurt. The lights aren't so bright, and driving here in the wintertime between Vernon and Kelowna where I live, it is dark. It is a very, very dark piece of highway. And these environmental paints that we're now using for road markings are not as good as they were in the old days when they actually put glass in the road marking paint that would reflect the light off the highways. I would argue that 20 years ago, 25 years ago, road markings and reflectors along the highways were much safer than they are now. The paints that they put on the roadway now don't reflect the light from the cars, and they're not nearly as safe or as easy to see as they once were. Okay, night driving, look for movement in the darkness. Our eyes are attracted to light and movement. And the other piece of this, the other technique that you can put in place if you look at the night driving video, is you need to preserve your night vision, because what happens at night is our some piece of our eye expands and lets more light. Cornea, it's not cornea, it's our light. It'll come to me here in a second. I'm having a brain cramp about which part of the eye opens up to allow more light into our eyes. So you want to preserve that, because if we get hit with the light from oncoming traffic, it closes our eyes and we can't see as well at night. Where is the curve of the road? Fewer lights the farthest we get away from cities. Therefore, you're going to rely more on the headlights on your vehicles. Know that the farther you get away from cities. Fatigue. Know that you are going to be tired at night, especially between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. in the morning. This is the time that most people's circadian rhythms dip. It's the same thing in the early afternoon. People's circadian rhythms dip, they get tired, and they want to fall asleep. So this is when you're going to be at most risk of falling asleep, is at night. So the only cure for being tired at night is getting sleep. Fall asleep if you have to. And I know there are smart drivers who are going to say to me, you can't pull into a pickle park and fall asleep in your car because police will harass you. Police will not harass you if you're sleeping in your car. As well, if you put the seat back and you have a blanket in your car, so if you're doing a lot of night driving, you should have a blanket in your car, and you pull the blanket up over you, it's pretty hard to see somebody in a vehicle unless they have a flashlight and they're shining the flashlight in the car and actually looking for you. But authorities would much rather you be sleeping somewhere off the side of the road where it's safe, in a safe location in a pickle park or someplace like that, than out driving when you're tired on the roadways. And people who do have to drive home in the morning, there are ways to keep yourself awake at night, okay? Eat something. When I was driving truck at night, I ate carrots and rice cakes. That's how I stayed awake at night. Talk to somebody else. Talk to somebody on your cell phone. Talk to somebody on the CB radio if you're driving a big truck. Those days are pretty much gone now, CB radios and those types of things. But that was another thing that I did at night, was I talked to people on the CB radio. The other thing that I do on long trips driving at night is I listen to audiobooks, and those are fairly easy now. We all have cell phones, and you can download podcasts and you can download audiobooks from the library. And here's a question I have about digital books. Why can they only lend out so many digital books from a library? Isn't it a public library, and digital books you can just have as many copies as you want? I know the reason, but it doesn't make any sense to me. Don't we live in a digital age that if I want to borrow the book, it's like I can have it because you just make so many copies of it? I know that the author has to get paid and there's so many digital copies and those types of things, but I find it absolutely ludicrous that there's a limit on digital copies of library books from the library. All right, I digress. I've had my little soapbox moment. Okay, most dangerous light conditions in which to drive: sunset and sunrise. And the reason for that is because you have a light sky and you have a dark landscape, and cyclists, pedestrians, other road users hide in the dark landscape. And our eyes, our retinas, that was the word that I was looking for before that I couldn't figure out. I was having a brain cramp. Our retinas are adjusted to the light of the light sky, not the dark landscape. So be aware of that. And again, look for movement in the landscape to keep yourself safe in these light conditions when you're driving at night. Dash lights. I've said this numerous times. Not too many people listen to me on this point. Turn your dash lights down as much as possible that you can tolerate if you're driving at night. For me, if I'm driving late at night, there's very little other traffic on the roadway and I am on cruise control on the highway, I will actually turn my dash lights off, because what happens is it draws your eyes down to the dash instead of looking out through the glass where you should be looking, and it causes fatigue and distraction. If you can reduce that fatigue and distraction when you're driving at night, it's going to keep you more alert and more focused on the roadway where your attention should be, rather down on the dash. There's less light as you get farther away from urban areas, but I have been noticing of late that the more I'm out on highways, there are street lights, reflectors, road markings, intersections, lights on houses. There are many landmarks along the roadway that will help you to navigate the road at night. Your number one landmark for driving along a roadway at night is other traffic, because for the most part, other traffic is going to be driving on the roadway. When possible, use your high beam headlights at night. Now, I have noticed when I get tired, when I get fatigued and I'm driving at night, I forget to turn down my high beam headlights. So what happens is when that happens and I start getting fatigued like that, I'll just leave my headlights on low beam, so I'm not trying to turn them down all the time. Know that, recognize the symptoms of you getting tired when you're driving at night so that you can put in place skills that will prevent you from being in a crash. So you notice, for example, that you're forgetting to turn down your high beams when other traffic is passing and whatnot. This is an indicator that you're fatigued. Maybe this is an indicator that you need to get off the road and you need to get a little bit of sleep. For me, when I was driving truck in the 1990s, if I started chewing my fingernails, I knew that I had to be in the bunk, because otherwise I was going to fall asleep at the wheel. It was like I had pushed myself to the limit. Once I started chewing my fingernails, I knew that very quickly I was going to fall asleep. Houses along the roadway, intersections, other traffic on the roadways. These are all the landmarks that you're looking for when you're driving at night. Traffic signs as well. Most traffic signs are within close proximity to the roadway, and these are going to give you indications of where the roadway is going when you're driving at night. And this is the biggest issue that new drivers, and especially new semi-truck drivers, have when they're driving at night, is locating where the roadway is going. Is it curving to the left? Is it going straight, up, down, those types of things? Traffic signs are not capricious. In other words, they're not designed in any way to trick you, okay? They're there to give you information, and if you read traffic signs, they will help you out. In addition to that, people have said to me, smart drivers have come back over the years and said, running your GPS as well will show you which way the road is going to go, whether it's going to curve right or left, and it will give you speed limits and traffic signs along the roadways and those types of things. So that will help you out to navigate as well. So if you can tolerate your GPS running at night, that too will help you out. In addition to turning down your dash lights, using cruise control will A, reduce the chances of you getting a speeding ticket at night. B, you don't have to monitor your speed, and your full attention can go out through the glass and control driving the vehicle and pointing it down the roadway. All right, stay in the right lane. Passing, you don't have to take it off cruise control to pass other traffic. Just leave it on cruise control, goes past, get back into the right-hand lane when you're driving along the roadway. Good luck on your driver's test, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Alta, how do you turn off your dash lights? Where do I find the switch? Okay, the switch for your dash lights is down on the left side of the steering wheel, kind of down near the bottom. There should be a slider, like a dial or a slider, that will turn down your headlights. Now, on some of the newer vehicles, it may be digital. I have seen it right on the instrument panel as well, to turn down your dash lights, but most vehicles it's going to be some sort of dial down on the left of the steering wheel that will allow you to turn down your dash lights on your vehicle. Lucid, so many people's car lights are so bright. Yes, you get the newer vehicles with the brightest sunlight LED lights. Yes, they are incredibly bright. And so we do implore those people to turn down the headlights. And actually there's been posts on social media where people are talking about approaching the government and putting in limits of how much luminescence, I guess is the word, the 5500 Kelvin. Is the measure of how bright lights are. 5500 Kelvin is sunlight, and you know, how much luminescence should these headlights be? Because as you said, some of them are incredibly bright when you're driving at night. Karina, how are you? Awesome. Excellent. Welcome to the live stream. Triple Z, hello, your videos helped me pass my driving test last week. Thank you so much. You are most welcome, my friend. Thank you for dropping back and letting us know. That's really great news that you passed your driver's test, my friend. Epic, on the highways in North America during nighttime, there would be heavy police enforcement prepared to follow the speed limits in the eastern part of the US. The max speed goes 110 kilometers an hour or 60 to 70 miles per hour. Epic, I don't know whether that's true or not anymore. There was an interesting anecdote in the 1990s when I was driving truck through Ohio. They used to say that they were laying off some of the state troopers along Interstate 75. They were only going to have one state trooper at every mile marker, as opposed to all the state troopers that they had in Ohio. Where I live here in the interior of British Columbia, there is no police presence on roadways between between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. in the morning. There's no police on our roadways between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. in the morning. And I suspect that this is going to become even more prevalent as we have fewer and fewer police officers working for the departments. That we're going to have fewer police on our roadways at night. And, you know, all the stuff that happens at night is going to increase, you know, illegal street racing, speeding, all those types of things. Marion, especially in the city where there are lots of lights already out in the open country, then sure, have bright lights on, but not in the city. Yes, absolutely. Don't use your bright lights in the city. Epic in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, they actually do it still at the night. Heavy police enforcement. Additionally, in some states, when you have to take the driver's test, they require you to do a night driving log failure no test. Excellent, and I am happy to hear that, because the point that Epic just brought up is an excellent point. Night driving is not something that you're taught in a driver education course. And this was one of the things that I thought was exceptionally well done with the mountain trips that we used to do with the truck driving school, is that we got students out, and, you know, some of the more ambitious instructors, such as myself, not patting myself on the back or anything, but took the students out at night and gave them some skills and abilities to drive at night. Unfortunately, too many drivers, winter driving at night, parallel parking, many other skills, they never get tested on them, they never get trained on them, and they're left to their own devices after they get a license. And it's the unfortunate part of our system of driving that many people just figure it out They have to figure it out on their own. Unfortunately, they don't get the right information in many instances. The skill and technique that I use for avoiding animals at night, especially out on the highways, is I will get behind another vehicle. I will hang back about a half a mile, half a kilometer from that vehicle and let them drive in front of me. And I will follow them down the road, and they're my bear buster, as I call them. Not so much for cops, because I know it could be misconstrued as cops, but bear buster, animals on the roadway. So that's how I avoid animals at night. The other thing that I will do is if I'm out on the highway, like the Trans-Canada Highway or someplace that has very little traffic on the roadway and it's 2 lanes, I will sit on the center line and I will have the center line come down the middle of the hood if I'm driving. So say like between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. in the morning at night. If you're fatigued, you're working nights, service industries, Tim Hortons working as a nurse, and you have to drive home in the morning, take note of your own fatigue levels. Know that you somehow have to stay awake. Chew gum, keep the windows down, play the radio loud, eat carrots, rice cakes, those types of things. Keep yourself safe until you get yourself home and get some sleep. And if you just cannot keep going, don't drive tired. Pull off somewhere, get some sleep, because that's the only cure for tired at night. Look for landmarks along the roadway, other traffic, intersections, traffic signs, houses along the roadway. All of that will help you to navigate the roadway at night and keep yourself safe. Stay safe out there. Put in the skills and habits that will prevent traffic crashes. Space buys you time. Time buys you options. Options prevent crashes. All the very best. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great night. Bye now.